So in this video we're going to have a look at how to apply the law of conservation of mass to a particular chemical reaction. And here I've got calcium carbonate, and calcium carbonate will break down to form calcium oxide and release the gas carbon dioxide. Okay, this is one of the experiments we do in class. When we do this, we take the mass of the calcium carbonate at the beginning. So I'm going to make numbers quite nice and simple for. I'm going to say that we weighed this at the beginning and it weighed 10 grams. And what we do at the end is we weigh the test tube at the end of the experiment, and I'm going to make the mass really easy for myself and say that at the end here the test tube weighed 8 grams. And people go, hang on a minute, sir, you told us that mass cannot be created and it can't be destroyed. How can we have less in our test tube than we had at the beginning? And that's because the difference between these two numbers is because the gas, the carbon dioxide, is escaping from the test tube. And because we know that the conservation of mass says the mass at the beginning must equal the mass at the end, we can work out that the mass of carbon dioxide that has been produced and escaped must be 2 grams, because then these two add up to the 10 grams we had at the beginning. And this is a good way to monitor this chemical reaction, because I know that as I do my reaction, if I was to record the mass of this, and let's make some numbers up to help us. Let's say that the first time I record it, the mass is 9.5, and then I check the mass after a few more minutes of the reaction, and now it weighs 9 grams, and then I measure it again a few more minutes later, and now it weighs 8.5 grams. I can see here that because the mass is decreasing, this reaction is continuing. The reaction is still going because it's losing mass, because the carbon dioxide is still being formed and released, and therefore the reaction is continuing. I then get down to here, I check the mass again, it now weighs 8 grams. A few more minutes of heating it and reacting, and it still weighs 8 grams, and check it again and it still weighs 8 grams. So I can see now, because I've got this period here where the mass has stopped changing, this means the reaction is finished. The reaction is complete. Okay, so the reaction is complete, the reaction is finished, because the mass now has stayed stable, it stopped dropping, and remember, it does show that the law of conservation of mass is true, because the mass at the beginning, the 10 grams, is equal to the mass at the end when you put the two products together.